I'm a fan of my Wolfang impression. And it sounded like this. Basically, if you were depth charge, but a wolf. Arroo!
On the prowl, bitches.
On the prowl and ready to howl. Wow, that's a that's a good slogan.
Yeah, that's not bad. That would be on the back of the packaging where it has like your tech specs, like your strength, intelligence, like speed, endurance,
And a
like
little quote by him.
and a little quote by him, and that would be Wolfang as voiced by NeoCal.
Too much energon. Too much energon.
The planet does have Unicron.
Too much energon.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full!
Too much energon.
Too much energon.
More than a sufficient amount.
Merry Christmas, Maximals! Welcome to part 2 of our 2021 Too Much Energon Christmas special. Coming to you live from a mysterious floating mountain somewhere on planet Energon. I am one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm your other host, NeoCal.
How is it going this week, Cal? How's the Christmas time, the Christmas cheer for you, if you will?
It's
The Christmas Energon, even.
the Christmas energon is brimming. I don't have any decorations or anything up, but yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it through the digital world, so to speak.
You're feeling the Christmas cheer.
I'm feeling it, yeah. Maybe it's something I'm clinging on to during these apocalyptic times.
Perhaps it's all of the festivities we've been having here at Lasercomb Productions for the.
I think that's what it is.
For the past few weeks, like special Christmas themed episodes of this show, Christmas themed episodes of other shows that we do, interviews that we've done, board games we've played, Maximals we've destroyed. Yes,
it's definitely helped.
Well, that's good to hear. I today got myself a Christmas gift of sorts.
Is it green or red?
Yes.
Ah!
For the audio listeners, I am holding up a Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Raspinator that I managed to procure today. They actually had quite a few of them at my local GameStop, formerly known as EB Games.
That's right. It took 15 years,
but they got there. God damn it, yeah. They got there.
Anyone wondering what the hell are they talking about? GameStop acquired a chain called, what was it? Electronic Boutique.
Yes, it was originally Electronics Boutique like 20 years ago, and then it became EB Games in the mid 2000s, and then GameStop bought them GameStop USA bought them a couple of years later, and they kept
the name.
They changed some of the stores, like back in Eastern Canada, from what I've heard, to GameStops, but most of them they left as being EB Games. But recently they've decided
they're all called GameStop.
Fuck it, they're all GameStop.
Yeah.
Who knows why? Who cares even?
Who cares?
Raspinator is no longer in frame.
Oh, there he is.
I've always been a fan of my Waspinator impression.
You should. You should.
I should be proud, damn it. I've never really talked about this on the show yet, but a couple weeks back, I also managed to procure a War for Cybertron Kingdom Tigatron.
Mm-hmm. And actually legitimately looks very much like almost 100% like the Beast Wars it's 3D model.
It's the hypest Tigatron you will possibly get without forking out the money for the Masterpiece figure.
Someone else has his Tigatron, but it's out of reach.
It is behind you, up on the mantle.
There it is. I'm like, where could it be? I have things behind me.
Yes.
Right next to Throttle and Neo. The only Funko Pop figure I have kept.
Yes, I believe you've talked, I don't know if it was on this show, but you talked recently, maybe it was on a preamble or something, about a great purge you did of your Funko Pop figure
The Great
collection.
Purge. I had way too many of them. People were gifting me them, thinking I liked them, because that's just what you get video game and movie nerds, right?
Yeah, that's what you get nerds. Every nerd likes Funko Pops. I have more of them than I would care to admit, honestly. But I never buy them at full price. I'll go to like a comic store
of course not.
or GameStop or something, and I'll find like a Power Rangers one like on clearance for like $1. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
Whoa. Wow, $1.
Well, maybe not $1, but I found some a couple of Zoolander Funko Pops. I found Mugatu and Ansel, and they were on clearance for like $2 each.
They have Funko Pops for everything.
Not quite. They don't have Funko Pop figures for Beast Wars characters.
I might make an exception to just having Neo behind me.
So yeah, I have a bunch of them. The only ones that I've actually bought at full price were back in 2015 or 2016. They released a line based on Marvel's Netflix Daredevil show.
Yeah, you're a big fan.
I'm still a big fan. And actually, Vincent D'Onofrio, who played the Kingpin in that series, recently just popped up on spoiler warning for anyone out there. Recently just popped up on the Disney Plus Hawkeye TV show. Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock also appears in something else recently Marvel related that just came out in a small cameo that I'm really excited about, because they're keeping that Daredevil show canon. They're bringing back the actors, so I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like they're considering it all canon if they're bringing back the same actors, right?
Yeah. So that show was kind of unceremoniously canceled back in 2018. Pissed me off. Still,
I remember you were pretty upset about that.
Yeah, very. The show was better than a lot of the movies, to be honest. But yeah, so it gives me hope that perhaps they will there will be a continuation of that show in some form.
Yeah, sounds like it. I had a friend that was really upset when Punisher was canceled too.
Yeah. The first season of that show was all right. I couldn't even finish the second season. I got like 3 episodes in and just wasn't into it.
Bored. I have a confession to make. I haven't seen either.
Well,
that's my thing. I don't watch anything, and Christopher watches everything. That's our dynamic.
It's kind of true. Although this week on Too Much Energon, we are talking about Christmas. And on the subject of people watching things and people not watching things, we are talking about a couple of episodes, Christmas-themed episodes of Transformers Animated. Now, I watched these last week, and this week, life got in the way.
When life hands you lemons, you transform and roll out.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, I didn't have a chance to rewatch them a second time, so my memory's a little hazy on what goes on, like beyond like broad strokes. But Cal, being the legitimate journalism that he is, did actually rewatch these. So
I liked him.
So I'm gonna be leaning on Cal a little bit for the narrative of this episode. But before we get into that, let's talk about Christmas in the Transformers franchise.
Okay.
And let's talk about why we chose these episodes to talk about on this Too Much Energon, the Beast Wars podcast, when this has nothing to do with Beast Wars? Well,
Okay.
you see, it is Christmas time. Also,
Tis.
listeners, this was my idea.
Would it be anyone else's? Can you tell how much somebody likes Christmas?
So it being Christmas time, I wanted to dedicate an episode of this podcast to Christmas. Last week we had another Christmas themed episode where we played a board game. It was pretty fun, but I wanted to talk about a little bit about the Christmas as a holiday in the Transformers franchise. And through my research, I discovered that the only Transformers cartoon over the years to actually have proper Christmas episodes was a two-part of the 2007 to 2009 series Transformers Animated. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, because it's Christmas, god damn it. And this is our podcast. We can do whatever we want. This is the
only Christmas-focused Transformers?
Yep. Christmas is brought up here and there.
But not a Christmas episode.
But not a full-fledged Christmas-themed episode. This is this two-parter here is the only one out there. So that's why we're going to be talking about that today.
Transformers, the animated series. Anyone wondering?
No, it's Transformers Animated is the name. 2B is wrong.
2B? Yeah, wait, yeah, you're right. I was just looking at the wiki. I never even thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
2B's wrong about a lot of things. Can you tell listeners that's what we watch it on?
I mean, it is free, so...
Yeah, it's free. So, well, if you want to go and see these episodes that we're talking about, pause and go watch it. It's season 3, episode 8 and 9. And yeah, it's on Tubi.
Right. They originally aired part 1, Human Error Part 1. So this is the 37th and 38th episode of Transformers Animated overall. Human Error Part 1 originally aired on April 18th, 2009. And Human Error Part 2 originally aired on April 25th, 2009. Cal, this was around the time we were working together at Blockbuster.
Blockbuster Video. Christmas was always special at Blockbuster too, because it was fucking nuts.
Tis the season of giving, and what better gift to give someone than the gift of DVDs?
And if they have a PlayStation or Samsung Blu-ray player, possibly Blu-rays. And if they have an Xbox 360,
you can get them an HD DVD add-on drive on clearance for $10.
Because they don't make them anymore.
Actual thing. There was one left at Blockbuster, the Blockbuster that we worked at. The Xbox 360 HD DVD drive was when it was discontinued. It was originally retailed for $200, and then Blockbuster put it down to $150, and then $100, and then $50, and then they just cut it down to $10.
Unreal. I remember that now. 10?
And wow. $10. And so when I saw that, I'm like, I didn't even have a 360 at that point. I'm like, fuck it. I got to. It's $10.
Amazing. I didn't know you got it for like $10.
Yep, it's $10. I had it for years too. I actually what did I do with it? I'm pretty sure I sold it at Epic Games and More. Only maybe a couple of years ago.
And they probably give you $10 for it.
That's about what they gave me for it. Yeah. And I think they charged like $100 for them.
Who is sitting down being like, yes, finally, a vintage HD DVD Xbox 360 adapter.
Also, if anyone is wondering what the fuck an HD DVD is, back in the mid 2000s, there was a format war between Blu-ray and HD DVD. It lasted like 2 years, and HD DVD lost because you've heard of Blu-rays, you probably haven't heard of HD DVDs. Also, around this time, and I say this, and Cal can attest to this as people who work at Blockbuster Video, most people didn't know what the fuck they were. They didn't know what the difference was between the two formats, or what the difference between them and DVDs were. It was a standard operating procedure to ask customers, like if they brought a Blu-ray to the counter, to be like, "And you have a Blu-ray player, yes?" And most of the time, they would be like, "What?
What? It's
What's a
like, this is
Blu-ray player?"
Blu-ray.
And you would see a lot. I would see this especially with a lot of like couples who would be like in their 40s. They would like look and laugh at you like you're the fucking idiot because they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's just like, you're not going to be able to watch this, bro. So why are you laughing at me? And it's
Yeah.
usually because a new release would be out, right? It's like Sunday night, and they came out. What days did they come out? Tuesday,
Tuesday, yeah.
Thursday, Tuesdays, right? Sunday night. Of course, we don't have any copies of whatever popular movie was out.
Right.
But they'd see the Blu-ray or the HD DVD one is there and grab that copy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what 40-year-olds did. If you go up, 60-year-olds, they just grab the plastic cover and bring it to you. Bless their heart.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those were the days.
Those were the days when Transformers Animated came out. But again, before we get into that, so history of Transformers, history of Christmas in the Transformers franchise. So I'm going to tell you what the Transformers wiki, tfwiki.net, a chef's kiss of internet wikis, in my opinion. I love. I've talked about it before on the show, but I fucking love the tone of this wiki. It has this really like snarky, like kind of sarcastic tone.
Yeah.
We frequently reference realistic velociraptors, linking to a Wikipedia article for Jurassic Park. That comes from the TF wiki. Where I got Planet Energon from.
Yeah. What? We didn't make that up?
It took me a long time to actually remember where I read it on the Transformers wiki, and but I knew I got it from there. And eventually, a while ago, I'm like, oh, so it was some like promo comic for Beast Wars that was only the Beast Wars video game that was only released in the UK, but in the comic book, it said that they crashed on quote Planet Energon. And I'm like Planet Energon. That's hilarious. I'm gonna run with that. And here we are, living on Planet Energon. So TF Wiki describes Christmas as a holiday celebrated by humans on December 25th, commemorating the birth of someone called, quote-unquote, Christ, who is considered God. It seems to revolve around the exchange of material goods, the slaughter and feasting of conifers, and the consumption of roasted avians. Conifers. Autobot, I can read, I swear. Autobot intelligence suggests that at the time, humans gather together and don't shoot each other. More importantly, Christmas is also the focus of a powerful spirit, manifesting in charity, goodwill, and appreciation. Even hardened Decepticon warriors and vengeance-driven humans are subject to its influence. Such spirit is manifest in a saint named Santa Claus, who travels the world bearing gifts. Some Autobots have been known to don a red outfit with a bushy white beard, imitating Santa Claus as part of the Christmas ritual. So
amazing.
Transformers television doesn't touch on Christmas very much beyond like passing mentions, but apparently it came up in the Marvel Transformers comics of the 80s and 90s quite a bit.
Okay.
There apparently was a Magic of Christmas story for in the G1 continuity taking place in a Women's Day magazine called The Night the Transformers Saved Christmas. That's that seems like a very odd that seems like a very odd place to publish such a story. But
and yet there it is.
And yet there it is. Not too much goes on in regards to Christmas with Transformers, as I mentioned, but we do have these episodes of Transformers Animated that we're going to be talking about. right now.
Right
get s-
now.
Let's get
After
started.
these message from our sponsors.
From our sponsor, adamandeve.com. Just enter code Energon.
Two, the number two,
The number
much energon.
the number 2 MCH Energon.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
If only.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to be sponsored by adamandeve.com.
They got any robot?
They
Got any
must.
robot themed? They must, right? They got Autobot and Decepticon toys. They must.
They must. I'm sure they do.
They must.
Maybe I'll shoot them an email. Be like, hey, want to sponsor our podcast? And they'll be like, no.
And they'll be like, they won't reply.
They won't reply. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Human Error Part 1. It's Christmas time. One thing that Christopher
having a wonderful Christmas time.
One thing that Christopher Siege has pointed out is that it's kind of looks like the IDW comics.
The Beast Wars comic, yeah, the art
Beast Wars
stuff.
comic.
The current Beast Wars comic, which if you want to hear us talk more about, check out our spin-off of this podcast called Too Much Galavar.
And I think this is a little smoother and less jagged, like pointy.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I see what you're saying. If anyone has listened to Too Much Galavar, they'll know that I fucking hate the art in the IDW Beast Wars comic. I actually don't mind the art style on this show. It grew on me. At first, it was kind of like, oh, this is really cartoony, but
yeah, it took like a minute or two, and I was like, no, I dig it.
I think once we meet Prowl's human form, then I became fully on board.
I knew that you were gonna love that. So what's going on in Human Error Part 1? Everyone's getting ready for the festivities. They're not worried about war, but Optimus can't turn off his worry that like Soundwave is up to something.
So there's some continuity going on in this show. So clearly, Soundwave has been up to some shenanigans, but he's not around anymore. But some scientist dude has mass produced some like toys based on sound waves. They're like little like miniature like
they dance and sing and stuff. Yeah,
bust a move, rule, try and take over the world.
And who's the big green one? I'm really bad with names. Is that Ironhide or?
I believe that is Bulkhead. Yes, it is Bulkhead.
Bulkhead. He's like, oh, it can't be Soundwave. I smashed him to pieces, remember? So I guess they think that they've defeated Soundwave in prior episodes to this.
Yeah. Little do they know.
Little do they know. And speaking of little, Optimus thinks he sees a little like tiny Soundwave toy like spying on him. And he chases him and he loses him on like a monorail or something like that. So he just calls it a night and goes home.
Yeah, he goes home and we get introduced.
Oh, I just noticed that they're putting like hubcaps and stop signs and stuff like that on their tree.
we get introduced to the rest of the Autobots and also their human friend, Sari.
Yeah.
Sari, not Soo, not Sorry. So when they first said her name, I'm like, sorry? Her name is Sari? What's she sorry for?
What is she sorry for? like the shawl, like the dress that they wear in India.
Right. So yeah, they're decorating the tree, and I believe Sari tells like Optimus that like he needs to stop worrying so much, and they're making some like oil nog. So like eggnog made out of oil, and
they're making oil nog, but a little Soundwave toy like poisons them while they're not looking. I only caught this the second time I watched this.
Yeah, see, I missed that. Honestly, I thought that they just got drunk.
That's what I thought, and I just rewatched this, and I was like, was I not paying attention the first time? He goes up to the big batch of oil nog and like shoots energy into it.
Well, regardless, it gets them drunk and they all pass out.
They all go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even Sorry, who's like 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
She-
Yeah, something
she's
like
a
that.
little girl. She's like, wow, you guys are going to bed already? They're like, yeah,
Fucking-
there's still tomorrow.
Fucking
old man.
lightweights. Fucking
Yeah.
lightweights. So yeah, they go to bed and pass out, and the next
I'm
morning,
done.
yeah, the next morning, Optimus, who I'd like to point out is voiced by David Kay, Megatron himself. Cheers.
Now he's doing a hero voice.
giving a very, very different performance. I honestly didn't recognize his voice at first.
I didn't until you mentioned it.
And I'm like, oh wow,
So
my man.
my man. So the Christmas miracle or curse is that the Transformers wake up as humans.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, I really dig their human designs.
Yeah, I know.
It's rad.
I know. So
Like you can tell Optimus is like the cool leather jacket, like wearing like leader, right?
yeah, he's wearing like I kind of got Superman vibes from him, honestly.
I
Like
can
with the-
see that. Yeah,
Like Smallville vibes.
they all
like,
run out of their
blue jeans, like red jacket.
blue jeans, red jacket. Yeah,
Yeah,
like bomber jacket.
My favorite being Prowl. Prowl legit looks like a mustached motorcycle cop, complete with aviator shades and helmet.
Yeah, when they all bump into each other, they're like, we're hideous. And man, they did a good job. Little yellow guy, Bumblebee.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a little kid wearing like he's got like a yellow backpack, yellow shorts, yellow sneakers, yellow hat with like two little spikes in it. He's pretty cute.
I kind of
And
get
they're
short
like-
round vibes from him.
I can see that, yeah. And they're like, where's you just said his name, Prowl.
Yeah.
And they're like, uh-oh, like what happened? Did it happen to him too? And we cut to a kind of beautiful scene. Before they go outside, they scan themselves and they're like, yep, 100% organic. What are you gonna do? It's a Christmas miracle.
How do they scan themselves if they're 100% organic then?
Oh, like computers. They did like an X-ray and
Oh, okay.
yeah. They sat down in some like diagnostic machine.
Right. All right.
And I like how I'm so bad with names right now. The old guy.
Sumac.
Is it
Sundak.
Sundak.
Yeah, it's the old guy is Sari's dad. The old scientist guy is Sari's dad.
Sundak, right. He, you know what, I'll bring him up later. But anyways, I'm all over the place right here because I'm excited. I like these episodes, can you tell? They go, where's Prowl? And they kind of freak out. And we cut to a scene outside where Prowl is like experiencing snow as a human for the first time. It's just a moment of quiet where you hear and like Christopher Siege said, he's dressed as a motorcycle cop from like toe to head.
Right.
Like the helmet, the Aves. He's got a
big mustache. Yeah.
Those big leather gloves.
Yeah.
It's-
I love it.
I knew that as soon as I saw Prowl's human form, I'm like, Christopher's gonna love this. Yeah, so we got like
when I was watching it for the first time, I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, this is all right." But then when we wake up, and then when we see their human forms, I'm like, "Okay, I'm intrigued now."
yeah,
I think the
I thought
humans
so,
in this
yeah.
show are actually quite well designed.
yeah,
I'm not
they
as
are.
I'm not as big of a fan of the robot designs, but the robot designs are fine. But the human characters are designed really, really well, I think.
Yeah, and but I agreed. Yeah, totally. I kind of want a show where it's just these human versions of them.
Right? That could be like the crux of the entire series is like Autobots get transformed into humans and they're stuck that way and they have to spend like an entire season or whatever like trying to figure out how to get change back.
I would watch that.
I would watch
it
that
was
too.
Just like this, I dig it. Because we get some like G.I. Joe moments later where they're like, just because we aren't Transformers anymore, doesn't mean that we can't help because the Predacons will attack.
Yeah, and Optimus Prime is like, "Yo, Joe."
He says something cornier than that. Bulkhead is supposed to be like a big frat boy, like a high school like football jock.
Yeah.
Is that what he's supposed to be?
I, on I kind of got like have you watched Breaking Bad? I kind of got
Yeah.
Badger vibes from him.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of tall, kind of
I like it.
tall,
Yeah.
oafy, like kind of a burnout. Really, really eats a lot, you know.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, as we get to. But yeah, sorry's dad. He seems to be an evil genius. Christopher and I have not watched the entire series of this. Our apologies.
I've not seen anything other than these episodes. No.
And he seems like a redeemed villain because he's dressed like a evil scientist.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an ally now at this part of the show. And but he seems to have bought his daughter, gifts that he wants, not gifts that she wanted. But also she's weird and ungrateful because he's like, open your presents. And she's like, oh, a Soundwave toy. Like, cool, but he was a bad guy, Dad. And he's like, but he dances, look. And he like dances along with him. I'm like, you bought this for yourself, dude. I've had friends and family like that.
I had an ex who would buy me gifts, but were actually things that she wanted for herself. Or things that she wanted me to wear, or etc. etc.
Yeah, trying to change your like fashion or whatever.
You can probably guess which ex it was.
I have an idea.
The one that I continue to curse to this day.
And Sari's dad is like, oh, but you have one more gift, and he gives her this giant pink present. She opens it, and it's a scooter, and she's again a normal kid that doesn't have a millionaire like mad scientist father would go, wow, you just bought me a rad scooter. I'm gonna be known as the Vespa girl. But instead she's like, Dad, I was hoping for something with 4 wheels. And I'm like, you little shit. That is not the spirit of Christmas. If it was a banana, you say thank you.
You could be like that girl in that viral video who like gets an avocado and she's like, oh, look, an avocado. Thanks.
Well, I'm quoting a girl from a video from like 6 years ago or whatever, and she opens it up, or a boy or something, a little kid, and it's a banana, and they go, oh, they're excited, and they're like, can I eat it? And they're actually like really grateful, and they're like pumped because it's just a banana.
Well,
and then they give him his real present.
The video I'm talking about is old too. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I've never seen the avocado. The avocado.
Oh, look,
one.
an avocado.
I've never seen the avocado one. But sorry, while Christopher's looking that up, Sari's dad is like, it's not just a Vespa. And he presses a button, and it transforms into a bodysuit and jetpack. Like Iron Man armor. And she flies out of their like high-rise like condo. Yeah.
Yeah, this I definitely wasn't expecting that.
So what do we got here? We got a switcheroo on us. The Transformers, the Autobots became human, and like the human character became more Autobot like.
Real quick, so the video that I was talking about is called "It's an Avocado" with an exclamation mark. It has over 5 million views on YouTube and 55,000 likes. It was uploaded on August 22nd, 2015. The kid opening up present.
I just watched it.
Yeah, and it's an avocado. He's like, "It's an avocado. Thanks," and then puts it to the side.
It's in between, like it's a little kid, but they're feigning excitement just enough that you can still tell that there's disappointment there.
Yeah, but they're still trying to act hyped.
Yeah, good on them. Oh, yeah. I just see the little kid loves banana in the in the related two videos. Okay, back to it's an avocado. Thanks. That's
Yeah,
a sorry.
This is an episode about Christmas, okay?
It
So
is.
these are this is
It's
on
Christmas
topic.
related. Yeah.
These are kids opening Christmas gifts.
Yeah. And what happens here? Okay, so the Autobots in human form are walking down the street. They're not being stared at for the first time, which they're like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Right.
But they're cold and they're like, oh man.
I mean,
how do
they're
humans...
not 25-foot robots anymore, so.
And they're like, man, it's like cold, and one of them like slips and like hurts themselves, and they're like, how do humans survive with these fragile bodies? And I remember looking to my partner and being like, we don't.
Yeah. That's part of life on Earth. Dear Cybertronians.
Welcome to just being in pain all the time, Cybertronians. And then they discover that they're hungry.
I like to imagine them being like Agent Smith in the real world in the Matrix Revolutions, just like taking a knife and like cutting, one of them's like cutting their hand. That'd be a Decepticon if a Decepticon turned human.
That'd be a Decepticon move, being like, so this is what pain feels like.
That would
Mr.
be what
Anderson.
Shockwave would do. That'd be the kind of thing Shockwave or Tarantulas would be doing, those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, some fucked up shit like cutting themselves and seeing their pain threshold and how much damage they can take and other weird stuff like that. But not the Autobots. They go to a burger shack.
Yeah, they go to a burger shack and Bulkhead like overeats and
he overeats and it's the trope where he's like, oh, I don't feel so good, guys.
Yeah, we get some toilet humor here.
We get some toilet humor. My partner checked out. That's as far as they watched.
The show almost lost me here. But
does it get better.
It comes back around. It gets way better. These are actually like legit great episodes.
Who's the older Autobot with the scar above his eye?
Ratchet.
Forgive me, I don't know what their human forms have looked like before this. But he's like, he turns to Prowl and he's like, how come your fuel intake is different than ours? And he's like, oh, I got vegetables. They burn cleaner than whatever you're eating. Do you even know what's inside meat? And Bulkhead's like, nope, and don't care. And I'm like, wow. So Prowl's a vegetarian. There you have it.
Yep.
And then something bad happens, but they don't have to pay the check. So I guess there's that. Predacons attack with shark missiles. Ooh, the shark missiles are coming at you.
Sharkticons, terrorize.
if only.
If only.
And buildings start burning, and they don't know what to do because they're people. They're missiles blowing up buildings. And Optimus is like, hey, just because we're not Transformers doesn't mean we can't help. And I love that go-to G.I. Joe attitude.
And then he's like, yo, Joe, and they all charge in. And and then like G.I. Joe is there, starts playing.
There is a funny part though. He's like, Autobots, Automen.
We should definitely cover an episode of G.I. Joe on one of our podcasts at some point.
Surprised we haven't.
Maybe on the Lasercomb podcast where we review random episodes of classic TV shows.
Oh, that's definitely gonna end up on there. Through no fault of our own, even. That's a classic. But Optimus is like, all right, Autobot, Automen, roll out and transform. Let's go. And I don't know why I actually like laughed. I was like, wait, is this show well written? I dig it.
Well, actually, on the subject of being well written, this show was co-created, or at least he was one of the showrunners or something, by Marty Eisenberg. So this actually makes it kind of Beast era adjacent in a way, because Marty Eisenberg was one of the co-creators of Beast Machines. So
which we've been digging.
which we've if you've been following along with this podcast, we've been you'll know we've been pretty big fans of Beast Machines so far. Controversial opinion, I know, but Beast Machines actually pretty good.
You're allowed to like Beast Wars
And Beast Machines.
and Beast Machines.
It may seem
People might
unfathomable.
unfriend you if you say that out loud, though.
Yeah, you might get thrown off of the Energon Mountain or something, or ejected out into space in a stasis pod. There we go.
Or in the trash chute. Stuffed into a trash chute.
Oh yeah.
Ejected out the Axelon.
Or beamed over to the Predacon base. Yes.
Well, that's even worse. So Prowl does some, I don't know how to say this, Matrix bullshit. Prowl bullshit. He saves a kid and he does like a backflip out of like a 4-story building and lands with them. And the kid runs back to its mom, and the other Autobots Automen are like, how did you do that?
The
And
Auto
Prowl's like,
Dudes.
the Auto Dudes, yeah.
There we go. I like it. Let's go with Auto Dudes.
The Auto Dudes. And Prowl's like, I'm not sure. But yeah, he did some like absolutely like inhuman amounts of stunts.
Something that doesn't seem physically possible.
And he had said earlier when he was touching the snow, he's like, it's weird. I can feel it all. And it all seems so real, but something's off. And boy, oh boy, this episode gets wild.
Follow the White Rabbit, Optimus.
Right?
Follow the White
White
Rabbit.
Kitty. Tigatron is here. Yeah, so Sari like goes back to base and she's like, instead of being like, that's weird, where are they? She's like, fine, sleep in. See if I care. And I'm like, is Sari a brat?
Yeah, I
Kinda.
kinda. She ends up being pretty useful, especially in the second part of this.
Yeah, I really dig her.
So yeah, so Starscream shows up and starts
talks
attacking. Shit talks them, and
They run away.
They run away. He hears them like call each other by their Autobot names, and he puts 2 and 2 together and figures out that oh, you little shitbags are actually the Autobots. Look, you're humans now. You're like filthy meatbags. Filthy organics.
Filthy organics. And they try to stomp them, but they run away with all the other people. And the Decepticons can't tell any of the humans apart, so they just get away in the crowd.
I do kind of I find that kind of amusing.
I was like, that checks out because they don't give a shit about people.
Yeah.
Why would they be able to tell like one ant from another?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I love it. It's just like, well, we need to get back to base. How do we do that? And they're like, well, we have no other option. And then it like cold cuts to them on the bus. And that's when I was on board for these episodes. And there's silence, just the sound of the bus. And then Bulkhead says, and then like an obnoxiously loud voice, this isn't so bad.
But at least we're not driving.
Yeah, at least we're
something
not
like that.
driving. Yeah, I don't know. Just the idea of the Autobots on a bus.
You want to know what
Christmas brings
you want to
joy.
know what I find to be one of the funniest, like just images, like just funniest things to see ever to me
that?
personally. Anyway, in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, there is a scene on a highway where you just see Raiden, a cyborg ninja, just casually driving a car.
Just a normal car.
Just a normal car, and he's in his like full on like ninja like exosuit and everything with like his visor on, and he's just driving a car.
And it's so out of place too, because like he's fighting mechs all game, right?
Yeah, but
Being
yeah,
a
he's
badass.
just driving on a highway.
The humor of those games.
Mm-hmm.
So they get off the bus because they're going. I can't remember where they get off the tower or something because they're trying to get Sari's help. And they say, wait a second, this is impossible. And there's a giant shadow. Boom. Cybertron.
Yeah,
Right here.
Cybertron's just there. Like, what
It's
the fuck?
just here.
What is this? A Michael Bay movie?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, what's going on here? Wait a second. And
That
indeed,
that
all of
that
the
that that is actually a thing that happened in one of the Michael Bay. I think it happened in like The Last Night or something, or
like
one of
teleported.
one of the later ones, like Cybertron, just ended up in Earth's orbit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't like them, man.
no, I don't like them either. Bumblebee is okay.
Yeah, I've heard that one breathes some humanity into the series.
John Cena's fun. There's and I know I've talked about this before, but like the opening like 3 minutes or so is on Cybertron, and they actually look like movie versions of like G1 Transformers, not
Oh,
like
okay.
the
See, that seems cool.
not like the like mechanized like mess that Michael Bay Transformers look like.
10,000 points of articulation.
Yeah, these actually look like how you would imagine like Optimus Prime and like Soundwave and Starscream and shit from the G1 cartoon in a movie today.
Maybe I'll check out Bumblebee.
It's definitely worth it. I would say
Yeah.
check it out.
I'm not checking out like 4, 5, and 6.
No.
or
No.
whatever they're at now.
Oh, and that Rise of the Beasts movie that got delayed recently until it's supposed to come out June 2022. It's now been delayed until 2023, even though the movie is done.
Well, you know, those editors, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're, you know what? It could
Maybe
just be waiting
maybe
for
all the
theaters to,
maybe all the editors have COVID.
or they're just waiting for people to go to theaters again so they can milk it for all it's worth.
Well, recently, Spider-Man No Way Home was released and had the third highest opening weekend of all time.
Of
So
all time?
Of all time. So Pandemic be damned.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Pandemic be damned. Like fucking everyone went and saw that almost said Star Wars Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen it yet. I might actually go see it on Christmas Day, but
I haven't, yeah.
Because I am despite all of the rising, and I don't want to get too much into talking about COVID here, but despite all of the rising cases of COVID, I am a quote unquote essential worker, so I can't really hide from the shit anyway. So I might as well go to a movie.
And you take all the precautions necessary, right?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you don't take it seriously.
No, not at all. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, where were we? Megatron
Bumblebee,
Lens.
check it out.
Yeah, Bumblebee, check it out. Spider-Man, check it out. Yeah, Transformers.
Star Wars, forget about it.
The Star Wars, forget about it. Nobody likes it anyway. Megatron lands and he's like, "Oh, wait a second. You just used each other's names. Had the Autobots hung out with the filthy, disgusting organics so much that you became them yourselves?" And Starscream's like, "Okay, let's kill him." And he's like, "Or we leave them alive so they can see all their precious humans die first." I'm like, there's the Megatron we know and love.
Yep, that's some Megatron shit right there.
And they're like, "This is unbelievable." And Optimus is like, "You're right, it is unbelievable." And he stands up and they're like, "What? I thought your leg was broken." And he's like, "It's not broken because it's not real." And Prowl takes off his arm sling. And he's like, "My arm isn't broken because I don't have an arm." Dun, dun, dun.
And then they start doing some weird like don't they start like flying around and shit like that?
Well, Prowl is like, "None of this is real." And Megatron tries to crush him in his bare hands. And he jumps out of his grasp, does like 17 flips in the air, and karate chops Megatron's. Prowl is badass in this episode as a human, just saying. And he karate chops Megatron's arm off. Like, as a tiny person, he could like fit in his hand. And you're like, he's doing it. He's beginning to believe.
Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me.
And so basically they're all starting to believe. And then they're all fighting back. They're realizing they're in a simulation.
I did watch that new Matrix movie recently.
Uh-huh.
It's
I'm preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best.
it's the first act is a mess. The first act is really cringeworthy. I won't really go into why, but the first act is so meta to the point of just being stupid. Like it's very blatant what they're going for with it, and it's anyone listening to
Well,
this like
blatant. No, there's I like the subtlety of the Matrix.
there is
No, I don't want.
there is no subtlety. See, that's the thing is meta can actually be pretty can be fun if it's clever and nuanced.
Yeah.
It is not clever and nuanced in this movie at all. It beats you over the fucking head. Like it just makes you roll your eyes because it's like, yeah, this is just the Wachowskis like commenting on their movies. Like anyone who hasn't seen it yet, you'll see exactly what I mean. But fortunately, once the first act is over, all of the meta stuff gets dropped like a bag of rocks. And it kind of makes you wonder why it was even there in the first place, because it doesn't really like factor into the rest of the plot at all.
Oh no, I'm gonna hate it even more. So Christopher, maybe listeners know that the movies that I hate the most are the movies that have a lot of potential, or like the first half is really good, and then it just fucking shits the bed.
I would say you could chop off most of the first act of that movie, and the movie would have been better for it. It actually gets pretty cool from the the second act onwards.
Okay.
Expect
the worst, prepare for the worst, but hope for the best.
It gets pretty cool. I would still say it is the worst of the four. The series
it would have to be, right?
The series is like there's 4 movies, and it's like the very like definition of diminishing returns in terms of quality.
Yeah, they get worse and worse.
Yeah. 1 is the best. 2, Reloaded is the second best. Revolutions is the third in quality and third installment, and The Matrix Resurrections is the fourth, and it is the least good.
Hopefully they end it before they get to like Jason in space, like Jason X levels of, because like horror franchises milk.
I actually like Jason X.
I've seen it, and it is actually one of the better Jason movies.
Because at that point they knew what they were doing. Like,
oh, they're shameless about it.
Yeah. At that point,
Jason takes Manhattan.
They're like, fuck it. Let's send him to space and make him a cyborg.
If Leprechaun can do it, so can we.
I just can imagine like how much coke was being done at that pitch meeting.
He's a cyborg and he's in space. Kills teenagers having sex on a space station. Woo! Let's do this.
Oh yeah, love it. Jason in space. Fuck yeah, let's do it. Fuck, get the cameras right now. Can we call up the guy who plays him? No? Can we get someone else? Do you know what someone else who's like 7 feet tall?
I'll do it.
Fuck. I might as well feel like I'm fucking 7 foot tall right now.
Cyborgs. Well, okay, so something I found out rewatching this episode, we're talking about human error, back to animated. Sari is a cyborg. She's techno-organic.
That completely caught me off guard.
That caught me off guard. She's techno-organic. Like her eyes
I said that like I was from Ontario. I was like, that completely caught me off guard.
Caught me off guard there. And I didn't realize that, because she goes down underneath the Autobot base, and her hand is like a robot hand, and she makes like a light, and she can shoot energy blasts. Today I learned, and it becomes relevant later, that Soundwave can't control. Spoilers for the episode that we're talking about. Soundwave is alive. And she fights him down here. She blows a huge chunk off of his shoulder. And she sees that they're all plugged into like machines. Like
they're plugged into the Matrix. Yeah.
But Soundwaves defeats her. Oh, sorry, back on the surface. They had defeated
Soundwave, like starts like shredding a guitar and attacking her with like bitchin' power chords.
Yeah, and he says, where is it here? Yeah, she takes a huge chunk out of, he fights with an electric guitar, folks. This show's rad. And he's like, Sonic attack, and his bird changes into an electric guitar, and he has a bat, and it changes into a keytar. Like, yeah, he's fucking rad.
The bat would be Laserbeak.
Mm.
Yeah.
But he has Laserbeak too. He has multiple flying ones in this.
Oh, so Laserbeak would be the bird, and the bat would probably be Ratbat.
Rat bat. But anyways, he kicks Sari's butt and she has to retreat, which is interesting. Like, she's not coming to save the day. She's got to take off.
I'm right. It is Ratbat.
Ratbat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, I'll be back for you guys. Just wait. And she runs away and retreats. And Soundwave like shit talks her as she's leaving. And she's like, your friends cannot defeat me. And then he's like, all right, I'm pumping up the jam. And he starts like hypnotizing them even harder than he was. He's like, reprogramming is insufficient, entering manual mode, and he starts like shredding on his guitar and like essentially brainwashing them in their sleep. And that's the human error part 1. Oh, and in the dream world,
turning triggers off, playing manual.
Yeah.
Time to shred. Die, Autobots. Actually, I like Soundwave's voice modulation in this show.
Excuse me, princess. Yeah, he sounds rad. And that is part 1. But yeah, in the Matrix world, Soundwave's Matrix, they figured out how to transform in that world. And I'm like, what would be the point? Like, you can karate chop Megatron in half as humans. But I guess so they feel like they're in the right body.
Yeah, maybe they just want to look like themselves.
Yeah, then that's fair.
It is a visual representation of your digital self.
And they can't break up, and then they're like, well, how do we get out of here? We need to find, we'll get to this part later, but we need to find some sort of representation of Soundwave in this world. And right. Prowl's a boss. He's all like, mind over program, or he has some sort of slogan that he says in this, and he kind of does like a Zen meditation thing, and Bulkhead is like, you keep saying that, but nothing ever, and then he disappears and unplugs from the Matrix right before their eyes. And indeed, he pulls himself out, and he just like wakes up in like a chair, jacks himself out, and he goes to fight Soundwave, who kicks his ass. He kicks his ass so hard, he just grabs him by the face, slams him back down into the chair, and then puts like the module back on his head and forces him back into the program. And I'm like, well, that was almost cool.
Almost cool.
Yeah, and they see him and they're like, how'd you get back here? And he's like, Soundwave kicked my ass. Wasn't expecting that. And he switches axes, Soundwave. He's like, further acceleration of reprogramming needed, switching to keytar, which is his like rat bat thing, which looks fucking metal as fuck, by the way. It's all spiky and jagged. And can a keytar be metal, or is that, no, it can, right?
Ailstorm, their front man. I've seen him live use a keytar on stage.
Rad. So there you go. They can.
Hell yeah. Also, shout out to one of our Patreon subscribers, Game Sprite Mode, who I've seen on her Instagram stories plays keytar.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Rad.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, keytars are rad. So she's as cool as Soundwave. And that's high compliment, because Soundwave is pretty rad.
That is high compliment. I don't know if she listens to this show. I don't think she does, but
there it is anyway.
There it is anyway.
For free.
Yeah.
And I love this because they're transformed back into people, because Soundwave is like doubling down on controlling his little matrix. And they're like,
Right.
well, now that we're humans, how do we get back to base to fight, to chase after Soundwave, because he's a big van in this world, like a hacker van that they need to chase down. And conveniently, Optimus is like, well, we'll drive those. And he points at
A bunch of vehicles that look like their alt modes in the real world.
there's a fire truck, there's a bumblebee car, like conveniently enough, there's one for everything. There's a
motorcycle
cop.
for Prowl.
Bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a cop motorcycle for Prowl, which I found amazing. And they get in, they have no idea how to drive. Optimus is like, this is more difficult than I gave the humans credit for, and he's like grinding the
I can appreciate that, because it would be a completely different the experience would be completely different if you're just like if you are a vehicle and you're driving yourself versus controlling a vehicle. And yeah, it'd be different.
And indeed we get a montage of them trying to drive, and they're all going down a highway, and like the ambulance is going backwards, and they're going like slow and like fast, and Prowl's like, you get the hang of it, you must be at one with the vehicle. And then he wipes out, and it's just a montage of them not knowing how to drive. And then we cut to a webcam of Sorry like breaking a few of Soundwave's little toys, and Soundwave is like, techno-organic individual, is not susceptible to like brainwashing music, which means I must destroy her. And I'm like, that's how when we find out she's techno-organic. So that kind of makes me want to watch this, find out what's going on there. She's immune to Soundwave's hypnotist.
Yeah, his
rock.
she's not down with the song that he's playing, if you know what I mean.
No. Oh, her hand opens up. Her side, like she looks like she has a human hand, but when she's firing blasts, like the fingers all come apart, and you can see like electronics under it. Rad.
So yeah, the Autobots all fall finally, like one by one, fall under Soundwave's
he gets them.
spell. Yeah, he gets them. And Sorry goes to Dinobot Island to look for the Dinobots.
Which kind of reminds me of the island of misfit toys, or the island of broken toys, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, where the toys, forgotten toys, something like that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah.
So she goes there like trying to enlist the help of the Dinobots, and I almost said Dinobot. Dinobot shows up and is like, are you here to challenge me for leadership?
Challenge me for leadership? I think not. Can you imagine? It just kicks this little girl's ass.
For you are a warrior.
A true warrior. And no, or you know what? She would
battle be fought. That's the
eye lasers her, and she just fucking explodes. Perhaps I was a bit too hasty. We have fun.
He died an honorable death.
Yeah, he has a moment, and then he just like moves on.
and then he just like goes back to beast. He like shrugs and then goes back to beast mode and walks away.
The Dinobot. We write the Raptorbot Chronicles as
we go
on the fly.
Yeah, we can't like
now.
We can't make this stuff up. We've tried. We can't make this stuff up ahead of time. It's always just whatever like comes off the top of our heads.
Yeah, that's canon in the Raptorbot Chronicles now. He gets off of he goes into stasis on planet Energon, and he wakes up on Christmas Island. Millions of years in the future.
It turns out
just to kill Sorry.
Yeah, it turns out he didn't actually die at the end of Beast Wars when the Nemesis exploded. He just got stuck. When the ship crashed into the ocean, he went into stasis lock, and eventually like Earth like like an island rose up from the ocean, and there he was, and he just woke up like 4 million years later.
Yeah, Raptor Jesus.
Yep.
And yeah, the island of Forgotten Toys or wherever shows a Constructicon.
Yeah,
Like living off the land.
I like this guy.
This one is he's the crane. No, he's the cat. What is he?
Scrapper.
Scrapper.
Or wait, yeah, Scrapper. He's been, according to the TF Wiki, he's been marooned for almost 7 weeks, separated from Mixmaster and Dirt Boss after their last misadventure.
And yeah, he's just living off the land. He even has a little shanty. He's living like the castaway here. He's even got like 5 o'clock rust.
So, and he's taken the Triceratops Dinobot as a pet and named him Snarl, but he mentions that he originally named him Slag, but he didn't take too kindly to that. So in G1, the Triceratops was named Slag, but they renamed him Snarl because Slag is actually a derogatory term for a promiscuous woman in the UK.
Oh, so he renamed him Snarl, and when the Dinobots Grimlock and
Swoop
or whatever, when they say we had argument with him and we no talk no more, Dinobots not be pets, and they say, oh, he or whatever, and he's like, okay, so interesting. And sorry, I'm thinking out loud, folks. Blah, blah. Jumbling my words.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were getting at there, but it's a nice little reference. It's a nice little reference to the fact that the Dinobot Triceratops in the Transformers universe was originally Slag in G1, but the character was renamed over the years to Snarl. So it's cute that they kind of called it out here in the show.
That's what I was trying to bumble out. They called it out and addressed that on the show.
There's another like little cute little call out that is going to come up pretty soon that I'm going to mention when we get there.
Oh yeah. So what happens here? She convinces Scrapper and his pet. I guess he domesticated Snarl, his pet Snarl, to make a raft. Because it's like, we can't leave the island. And Sardi's like, aren't you a Constructicon?
And you just build a boat. And he's like, he mentions, I never thought of that.
I never thought about that. And then, boom, we immediately transition to a scene where they're on a raft.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, whoa, no, I'm just going up north. I hear they got all kinds of delicious oil up there. And Sardi like threatens him. And I guess he's susceptible to the Constructicons just go with the flow, right? And she's like, no, you're going to save the Autobots and be heroes. You hear me? And he's like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And our favorite dude shows up.
Yeah, it's Wreck-Gar.
Where does Wreck-Gar come from? The middle of the ocean. I guess.
So Wreck-Gar is voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. So this is the another cute little callback that I wanted to bring up.
Tell us why, Chris.
In Transformers the movie, where the character Wreck-Gar was first introduced, the theme song of the Junkions and the Planet of Junk was that played during that whole sequence in the movie was Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al Yankovic. So now, like 20 plus years later, Weird Al Yankovic voicing Wreck-Gar in Transformers it's
fitting.
I like it. I'm digging this show. I might actually start watching this show.
I might go check it out too.
Who knows? Maybe we'll podcast about it.
Stranger Things. So one thing I've noticed that he communicated with commercials and ads and radio ads,
right,
when they went to the Junk Planet. This Wreck-Gar is damaged. Yeah, not fully functional.
Not fully functional,
if you will.
I actually
pops up and he's like, Wreck-Gar, Wreck-Gar is hero. My name is Wreck-Gar. And I'm like, oh no. We got a simple Jack thing going on here.
Simple Jack. Uh,
And she's like, Redgar, you gotta be pulling my leg. Redgar's like, okay, I gotta be pulling your leg. And he like grabs Sari's leg. I am Redgar. I am a hero. So I guess Sari's got 3 people to come and save the Autobots now.
later on in the episode, continuing on with the Weird Al theme, at one point he even pulls out an accordion
In the middle of fighting.
in the middle of fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, he pulls out an it's when Soundwave is blasting.
It was at that point when I was watching the episode where, like, because I had been thinking as I was watching it, I'm like, that kind of sounds like Weird Al, but is it?
It couldn't be, could
no,
it?
it probably isn't. But then when he pulled out the accordion, I'm like, okay. I'm looking this up, and lo and behold, it's fucking Weird Al.
And why is an accordion associated with Weird Al?
Because he plays the accordion
Pretty well.
Yeah.
he smashes that thing. Hell, he probably played the 10 seconds of accordion that's in the episode.
Oh, I'm undoubtedly. Why would you get someone else?
Yeah, and Sari's really growing on me now. She yells like, all right, new pseudo Autobots or beta Autobot replacements roll out and attack. And they do. And we see a Sailor Moon transformation that Sari does. And this is when I was like, okay, this show's great. There's a Sailor Moon transformation sequence where like her body transforms like an Iron Man suit is coming out of her.
Right.
It's I dig it. And then they have an electric guitar duel with Soundwave because he summons the Autobots who are now hypnotized by him. So it's 3 versus 5.
On the Transformers wiki, there's a screenshot of Soundwave on the monitor with his guitar, and the caption is, "Now you will watch as I complete Through the Fire and Flames on Expert."
The TME is just
gold.
Just great. I remember reading that too. Oh, I think I shared a screenshot. I can't remember what. I shared a screenshot of the TF wiki with you at some point. Oh, it was the Christmas.
Right.
Yeah. But you had already read it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a weird turn of events, the Snarl, Scrapper, and Retgar are the good guys with Sari in robot form, and they're fighting like brainwashed Autobots and Soundwave, and it's good. It's one of those things where it's like, we're not going to talk about the choreography. They fight, it's rad, yeah. People get chopped in half. The new Autobots win, but like Snarl is just acting like an animal. Scrapper is kind of like a coward. And Retgar like forgets what side he's fighting on half the time, and he sees Soundwave jamming out with his like sonic wave attacks, and he pulls out his accordion and he's like, I am Retgar, I'm a hero. And I'm like, what a joy, what a joy. And eventually Sari does get through to her friends and kind of like snaps them out of it though, right? Yeah. And we find
I'm a little
Prowl
lost as to where we are in the episode.
We find out Prowl was pretending the whole time. He was mind over mattering that shit like the whole time, waiting for his move.
Using processor over matter.
Processor over matter. He's the Morpheus of the group.
Oh shit! On the TF wiki, that actually is a hyperlink to something. Processor over matter is an advanced cyber ninja technique that allows the ninja bot to manipulate his surroundings using a supreme state of mental concentration. Most start humming when concentrating.
That's amazing.
See, also telekinesis.
I love that. See, also telekinesis.
Yeah. Very Merry Christmas to the TF Wiki contributors.
Yeah. So something man, something really cool happens. Soundwave, man, is he MVP? We're not selling it MVC, most valuable Cybertronian. He just starts
MVB,
rocking out.
most valuable bot.
Bot, there we go. He just starts like saying like obey, 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 and he just starts like rocking out and attacking everyone with his like sonic blasts.
It's pretty
And
metal.
it's pretty metal, and he's like, your axe cannot harm me, Optimus, because he disarms Optimus's like trademark axe, and he's like, no, but I can use your axe. And he like grappling hooks Ratbat out of the air, grabs him, blocks sound waves like sonic blasts, forcefully transforms Ratbat into his like electric guitar version. And then they have a Dragon Ball Z energy battle, electric guitar duel.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
they do.
this might actually be the coolest moment in all of Transformers history. Optimus Prime, electric guitar, like Dragon Ball Z battling Soundwave. And I just wish it was an actual guitar duel, kind of like in Reboot. Do you know what I mean? Like a 60-second long,
right.
like shred off.
It gets even better though, because Optimus like just stops and charges towards
Soundwave
Soundwave.
is like, you cannot beat me, bitch. And he's like, no, I can't.
He stops and charges towards him and leaps into the air and then wields the guitar like a fucking axe and like axes Soundwave right in half.
Yeah, because he's like, you cannot shred better than I can on these axes. And he's like, no, I can't. Oh. And he smashes him into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
It's
man, it's pretty dope.
It's pretty metal. I didn't know Transformers animated could be that badass, but man, I really liked this.
Honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, the only thing I knew about I'd only known about Transformers animated because, as I mentioned earlier, when we worked at Blockbuster, around this time,
right?
I remember like a DVD of like the first couple of episodes coming out.
Oh, like in the kids section or something.
Yeah. So I remember that coming out and seeing the cover and being like, "Huh, well, what the fuck is this shit?" Oh well, anyway.
Looks lame, yeah.
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Because I was 23 years old at the time.
Yeah. Right next to Caillou and Scooby-Doo.
Batman.
Love that
Scooby-Doo.
duel. And what happens here? Soundwave is transformed into, like, all of Soundwave is transformed into his boombox form.
Right.
And I guess he's in like a passive mode right now. And he's like, you have not heard the last of Soundwave. And Sari goes down and just like he's an old cassette player, like he's a boombox, right? And she just presses like the power button and she's like, it's supposed to be Silent Night. And I expected her to put on sunglasses. And I was like, holy shit.
And then Laserbeak swoops in and grabs Soundwave and then flies away. And
I'm like, you just turned it off? Shouldn't you have smashed it or grabbed it? No, Laserbeak saves Soundwave.
I'm really curious to know like why Soundwave is such a big bad in this universe. Like he seems to be more of a threat than Megatron.
And he could have just destroyed the Autobots, but he wanted to reprogram them, like make them Decepticons, right?
I'm really curious about the overall story of this show, honestly.
Yeah, like this makes me want to watch it.
Yeah.
Like, legit. Yeah.
Yeah, legit.
And we cut to the city being like repaired from their battle. And there are robotic trash cans walking around, grabbing garbage and putting the garbage inside of them. And I'm like, oh, like Cybertronian technology is like influencing humanity in this world.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Seems
That-
legit.
That was something from the Michael Bay movies, though, too.
And yeah. Oh, where are you going, camera? That was weird.
It was
Yeah,
pulling
that was-
it was pulling a connect on you. Just
Yeah.
starts looking up.
It was like, I am tired. Goodbye. So well, speaking of goodbyes, the replacement Autobots are just kind of like, well, our work here is done. We're gonna go back to the island and go fishing. And Scrapper tries to ride Snarl again, like he did earlier in the episode.
Right.
No, he kicks him off.
Why are they going back to the island? They mentioned earlier that they were stuck there.
He's realizing now that he liked how peaceful and isolated it was. He's like, oh man, like, don't get me wrong, but it's like too much work. And I love this line. And he's like, and there's no overtime pay.
Work.
Yeah, he's like, there's no overtime. You never told me there was no overtime. Like that's very like, like no union construction like worker.
And he has a bit of a New Yorker accent, and he sounds like a New York construction worker.
You never told me there was no overtime.
Yeah. I dig this guy.
Yeah,
I dig the show.
The voice
overall.
acting's great.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. They say some
He yells
bullshit.
"Hi ho, Silver" to try to ride Snarl, and Snarl just like kicks him like a horse. And it ends with they're like, oh, what about Retgar? And Retgar is like walking around. He's like, it's time I cleaned this city up, literally. And he's like walking around like cleaning all the debris up. And then the episode ends with him being like, ho ho ho, Merry Christmas. There's enough garbage for everyone. And then all the debris that he gathered up, he has in a sack.
Yeah, he's
And
just
he's
tossing it. So he's just redistributing trash that he just vacuumed up.
Which, I mean, isn't that the spirit of Christmas? And that's everything ends okay.
That's gift giving in my family, anyway.
Give the presents that you got last year to another family member.
Give the trash that someone gave you like 10 years ago that you don't want to someone else.
Amazing. I loved this.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Let's get into it. Here on Too Much Energon, we rate episodes or comics or even board
Movies,
games at this point.
Board games.
On the Too Much Energon scale, which it ranges from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good. Cal, what are you going to rate these episodes on the Too Much Energon scale?
This is an extremely high too much Energon. This man, I can't believe how much I liked these. Going in skeptical too. I'm like, I'm not gonna like this. And I'm skeptical of everything. Ask Christopher how much I've bitched about like Marvel movies and Star Wars. But I like this is just good.
Listeners, he didn't even want to watch Beast Machines at one point.
It's true. I was like, how good could it be? And he's like, hold your horses. Yeah. Now I love it.
So a high Too Much Energon from me, Okel.
Resounding Too Much Energon. If you don't watch anything, watch these 2 episodes of Transformers Animated.
All right. I am going to give it a low Too Much Energon, just because I think the second episode I think the battles in both episodes go on a little too long. And I think there are moments in both episodes where they both kind of drag. I think this could have easily been just mashed into one 22-minute episode. I don't think it needed to be a 2-parter.
Yeah, it stretched things out. I wanted more spiritual contemplation from Prowl, which we still got some of, so I really liked that. But her going into the factory, losing the Soundwave, leaving the factory, her going to the island, recruiting them, like coming back. There's a lot of like filler kind of stuff.
There is, yeah.
You're right. It could have been one episode.
They definitely could have trimmed it down. So because of that, like I still I still loved it, and indeed, like I legitimately want to check this show out now.
Yeah. Like I'm curious. I'm like, why
Yeah.
sorry, techno organic? Why is her dad dressed like Dexter from Dexter's Lab? Like
um,
how did Scrapper get to the island of forgotten toys? Why are also the Dinobots there? Yeah, so
yeah. So yeah, I got a lot of questions.
kudos.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions about the overall plot of this series, and yeah, I think I'm gonna check it out. So, but again, low too much energon, just because I think a lot of fat could be trimmed from both of these episodes.
There's the I don't feel so good, like toilet humor. Yeah.
That completely ruined this for your partner.
Oh yeah, they left at that point.
I completely understand. I almost checked out at that point.
Me too. It's just a joy, like Rethgar and just the guitar duel, and just it heavily the good heavily outweighs the bad.
Agreed.
Also, I got to see Prowl as a motorcycle cop karate chop Megatron's arm off.
Yeah, I mean that's isn't that the greatest gift of all?
It is. That made my Christmas.
Well, that was part 2 of our Too Much Energon holiday special. If you want to support the show, go to Patreon, patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB, where each and every week, well, not so much this month lately, hasn't been any preambles this month, honestly, because most of the shows that we've done have mostly been in the same room. So a lot of the like preamble stuff has mostly just been like me like setting
Many
shit
people
up,
talking over each other,
and me setting shit up.
yeah, and
so
just
it's not really like, it's not good audio. There's not a lot of conversation going on or anything
also
like that.
venting about things that are personal.
Yeah.
Like with all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. But typically you get a bonus preamble audio every week from this and all of the podcasts that we do each and every week. Starting at the $5 and up tier, you also get a monthly commentary track from us. We recently covered all three of the original Matrix trilogy, and we're going to be doing a Christmas movie here pretty soon, very, very soon, at the time of recording, actually. And we will definitely be doing a commentary track of the new Matrix movie at some point, probably in the next couple of months. So keep an eye out for that. That's all at the $5 tier. What's that?
I'm probably gonna hate it more than anyone.
I really, really want to hear your thoughts on the movie. So
okay.
I want you to see it ASAP.
I'm gonna watch it ASAP.
I could even potentially provide you with a completely legal copy if you would so appreciate.
Completely legal is good.
Yep. HBO Max, ladies and gentlemen. At the $10 and up tier, you get our typically weekly news and current events program, Lasercomb Tonight. We haven't really done one of that this month either because, well, we did one at the beginning of December, but just because of scheduling and like time and yada yada yada, it just hasn't worked out. But we're gonna have a new one this week, very, very soon. It'll be the last one of 2021. And also at the $10 tier for another of mine and Cal's podcast, the Lasercomb Podcast, where we review random episodes of classic TV shows with a fine-tooth laser. If you subscribe at the $10 tier on Patreon, you get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of. Shout out to our new patron, our boy, Cone Killer Confusor, who's been a longtime listener of our various shows. He actually tried to pitch Transformers Animated, which I found,
and you were like, funny story, but
I was like, my dude, just wait. You're
gonna get it sooner than you think.
Just wait literally a day for the part 2 of the Too Much Energon holiday special, because we're going to be talking about Transformers Animated. So
And that's the first thing he brought up.
that is the first thing he brought up. Yeah.
And yeah, so for anyone wondering, yeah, $10, you can pitch us a show. We watch a random episode from that show, but there are some rules.
Yeah.
On the Lasercomb podcast. It has to be a serialized TV show, and it has to be finished.
Not serialized. It just has to be narrative based.
Oh, sorry, narrative based. You're right. No, narrative based. And what that means is, other than no currently running TV shows, no reality TV, no game shows.
That's that sort of thing. So it has to have a narrative. It has to be narrative based. It has to have a story of some sort, like a sitcom or a drama, an hourly drama. Doesn't really matter.
We randomly what did we do? We did the Christmas Married with Children.
Yep. Last week we did a 2-part Christmas Married with Children Christmas episode, which was I had a lot of fun doing. It was one of our longer episodes of that show, as a matter of fact.
For someone who claimed that they didn't like it, we had a lot to say about it. But we've gotten a lot of cool stuff on from patrons, like Fighting Foodons.
And January is actually going to be all patron sponsored shows for the Lasercomb podcast. So I've already got a couple in the queue now. I've got to reach out to a couple more people to figure out what they want us to talk about in the month of January, but keep an eye out for that if you want to get in on that. Patreon.com/Lasercomb. Social media, go to Facebook.com/Lasercomb, LAZORCOMB. Central hub for this and all of the various other podcasts that we do. There is a Too Much Energon dedicated, Too Much Energon proper Facebook page, but I think I might actually delete that to kind of just streamline things into just the Lasercomb page. But you can also follow us on Twitter at Too Much Energon, or you can follow me at Lasercomb, once again, LAZORCOMB. And Cal, you are also on Twitter as well, aren't you?
NeoCal. NEO_KAL. I've also going to be streaming on the Twitch.
Oh,
perhaps you've heard about it. People like play video games and like hang out in hot tubs and stuff on it.
I was gonna say
something like that.
Put on bikinis and hang out in hot tubs.
Yeah, nothing cool like that. Just like me playing video games, but there it is.
Playing video games in a hot tub.
I should take it to next level. I should play video games in a hot tub.
Just the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Man, what a life to lead. Imagine getting paid for that. Getting paid to hang out in a hot tub.
This is the final episode of Too Much Energon for the year of 2021. Episode 68 of Too Much Energon. Yeah. We will be back early in January with episode 69. Nice. Of Too Much Energon, which is going to be parts of a interview that we did with mainframe composer Bob Buckley. The interview also appeared on our Reboot podcast, but I'm also going to make it an episode of this show as well, just to get that interview out to as many people as possible, because we talk a lot about Reboot. We also talk a lot about Beast Wars and Shadow Raiders, and it's a very like
we talked about all those shows with him.
Yeah. So the interview is relevant to both this and Reboot. So that'll be episode 69 of Too Much Energon in the first week of January. But in the meantime, two things before we get out of here. One, I want to give a special shout out to all of our patrons. All of them. And by all of them, I mean our favorite patrons.
We've got favorite patrons. Here they come.
And by favorite patrons, I mean I'm going to go to Patreon right now and look at who they are.
What have we got? We got Cone Killer Confusor. We got K.
So Cone Killer Confusor, longtime listener, recently just joined the Patreon after he's been with us for a long time, but he just recently joined the join the Patreon. He's done fan art for our shows, and shout out to him. He's really cool. Shout out to Kay, Game Sprite Mode, who has been with us for a very long time. She is a too much tier patron and has been for quite a while. So
Yeah.
and I follow her on social media. She's a really, really cool chick. I mentioned she plays guitar.
I know. I gotta follow her. Wait, no, I already do follow her. I didn't know that she played guitar though.
She really likes metal. She oh, excuse me. She likes AEW. So yeah, all around cool chick. Also, shout out to our patron Bemused Horseman.
Oh yeah, of course.
Shout out to B, who is one of our first patrons, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Fellow Canadian. I guess Game Spray Mode is also a fellow Canadian. Also shout out to Lewis. He has been a patron of ours for a very long time now at this point as well. He's been listening to us for a long time too, because he was one of the first people outside of my friends on Facebook to actually like the Too Much Energon page.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also, a big shout out to our patron Jared. Jared, he sent me a couple of heartfelt messages recently.
Thanks,
like,
man.
yeah, thanks. He's also been a long time listener. He discovered us through our Reboot podcast, and he's been listening to us since early this year. So, yeah, shout out to him, and shout out to anyone I could potentially be forgetting. So, Merry Christmas to you all.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, or just
season's greetings.
Just peace on earth, and God rest all ye gentlemen, or I don't know. And now, before
have joy during these dark months, wherever that joy may be.
And yes, joy to the world. And before we get out of here, I have something I want to close this episode of Too Much Energon out. The final episode of Too Much Energon for 2021.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
No. So I wrote up a little something, and I'm just gonna get right into it. So here we go. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a maximal was stirring, not even a mouse, nor that filthy rat trap. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes the Tripredicus would soon be there. The protoforms were nestled all snug in their pods, while visions of Energon danced in their mods. And Black Arachnia, in her handkerchief and I in my cap, had just settled our processors for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash of a cross-country missile and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow, much like them golden titties on Black Arachnia's bow. When what to my wondering optics should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 Predacon reindeer. With a little old driver, so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nicholas-tron. More rapid than air razor, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, yes, and Vixen. Oh, Comet, on Cupid, on Dancer and Blixen. Oh, yes. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away, my Predacons. As dry leaves before the wild energon fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, pterosaur and waspinator flew, with the sleigh full of toys and Tripredacus too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney Tripredacus came with a bound. Yes. They were reformatted all in fur, from their head to their foot, and their armor plating all tarnished with ash and soot. A bundle of blasters was flung on their back, and they'd look like a peddler just opening his pack. Their eyes, how they glowed, their missiles, how merry, their cheek were like blast craters, their nose a canary. Their droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as snow. The stump of a pipe they held in their teeth, and the smoke it encircled their head like a wreath. They had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of energon jelly. They chubby and plump, a right jolly old Predacon, and I laughed when I saw them in spite of old Megatron. A wink of their eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had everything to dread. They spoke not a word, but went straight to their work and destroyed all the stockings. They turned out to be a jerk. And laying their finger inside of their nose and giving a nod, up his middle finger rose. They sprung to the sleigh. Their team gave a whistle, and they all flew away and shot back at us a missile. But I heard their exclaim, ere they drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a blah 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 blah, Beast Wars once and for all.
Wow. You're welcome, listeners.
From Christopher Siege and NeoCal. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye.